a catalyst? What are the characteristics of a catalyst? What do you mean by catalysis? And what are the different types of catalysis? What are theories of catalysis? So one of the theory already we have discussed, intermediate compound formation theory. So the limitation of this theory is like there are few limitations. One of that is it cannot be applied in heterogeneous catalysis, and it fails to explain the increase or decrease of efficiency of a catalyst in the presence of a foreign substance, like we have already discussed retardant, poison, these are. Okay. So here we'll discuss today, that is your adsorption theory of catalysis. Adsorption theory. Okay. So this theory is successful in explaining heterogeneous catalysis. Okay. So it explains okay. So according to this theory, the steps are, step 1 is the reacting molecules are allowed to react in the presence of a catalyst. So reacting molecules get diffused on the surface of the catalyst the reactant molecules get adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst. So after diffusion, adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst. Okay. So how they will be adsorbed? By different non-covalent interaction, weak interactions like van der Waals forces and other non-covalent interactions, pi-pi stacking, van der Waals forces, hydrogen bonding. So these are the few acid-base interactions. So these are the interactions by which the reactant molecules get adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst. So next step is the adsorbed reactant molecules get transferred into an energy-rich activated complex or intermediate, you can say. The last step is the activated complex decomposes to yield the product okay, and the catalyst is free from the substrate. Okay. So step 1, the reactant molecules allowed to react in the presence of a catalyst and they diffused on the surface of the catalyst. Step 2, they are adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst. Step 3, they form the intermediate complex or the activated complex. In step 4, the activated complex decomposes to give the product, and the catalyst is free now from the intermediate complex. So schematically we can show it.
मैम वो क्या लिखा है is free from
the substrate or the intermediate. So this is the catalyst, surface, free valencies. So this is your reactant molecules. Then this is the step adsorption. Okay. So here they will form the intermediate. Okay. Intermediate A plus B. So here AB is the product. Students, there should not be any link. It is just adsorbed. Here intermediate, here decomposed, plus the catalyst is free now.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
तो A plus B के नीचे क्या लिखा है?
Intermediate. Here reacting molecules.
Okay,
Reacting molecules. When I'm writing, at the same time I'm also speaking what I am writing. So you please listen carefully at the time of writing. Okay, so this is the schematic representation of the steps involved in the adsorption theory. Okay, so then we'll discuss the mathematical expression. So rate is directly proportional to dx by dt, which is directly proportional to the fraction of the surface catalyst which is occupied. Okay, so rate of the reaction is equal to dx by dt is directly proportional to fraction of the surface of the catalyst which is occupied by the reactants. Okay, so dx by dt is equal to z theta, that is equal to z into K1P by 1 plus K1P. Okay, so here K1, yes, I'll derive how we got it. K1 is the
वो कौन सा पार्ट है वो पूछ रहे हैं फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सरफेस वाला मतलब
fraction of the surface of the catalyst which is occupied by the reactants. K1 is the coefficient of adsorption. Coefficient of adsorption So this is the result of Langmuir adsorption. Okay, P is the pressure due to the reactant molecules. Okay. So now we'll discuss how we will how we'll get this expression, that is theta is equal to K1P by 1 plus K1P, where K1 is the coefficient of adsorption and P is the pressure due to the reactant molecules. Okay.
मैम थीटा का क्या लिखा है?
Langmuir adsorption isotherm. Okay. So, according to the Langmuir adsorption isotherm, reactants plus surface, you will get the adsorbed surface. So here surface means the catalyst surface of the catalyst. Okay. So rate of adsorption that we can denote as RA, that is equal to the fraction of unoccupied surface. Surface that is equal to 1 minus theta, and it is also directly proportional to the pressure due to the reactants. So RA is equal to Ka into P 1 minus theta. Do you have any doubt until now?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So similarly, rate of desorption means removal of the reactants from the surface of the catalyst. So rate of desorption is RD. It's directly
मैम क्या लिखा है? फ्रैक्शन ऑफ
unoccupied surface. Okay. So RD is equal to KD theta. At equilibrium, RA is equal to RD. So KAP into 1 minus theta is equal to KD theta. So theta into KD plus KA is equal to KAP. Theta is equal to KAP by KD plus KA. So if we divide each of the terms by KD, so it will be KA by KD into P by 1 plus Ka by Kd into P. So if Ka by Kd, if we write it as K1, so it will be K1P by 1 plus K1P. So now theta is equal to K1P by 1 plus K1P. Okay, where K1 is equal to K by Kd. Is it okay? So rate that is equal to dx by dt is equal to z into z is the proportionality constant into K1P by 1 plus K1P.
मैम
Yes.
मैम ये नीचे डिनोमिनेटर में P कैसे आया?
P कहाँ से आया?
मैम वो डिवाइड किए ना KD से, तो फिर वो P
क्या समझ में नहीं आया मुझे?
मैम KD से डिवाइड किए ना वो थीटा इक्वल्स टू जो लिखा हुआ है,
हाँ 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 हाँ
तो मैम ये नीचे डिनोमिनेटर वाला जो है पार्ट इसमें P जैसे 1 + K/KD into P।
Acha, anybody can tell me what he is telling because I am not exactly
Ma'am,
getting.
मैम
हाँ.
इज आस्किंग कि डिनोमिनेटर में p कहाँ से आया? Like
मैम
how
आप
did you get?
KD से डिवाइड किए ना, KD बाई
हाँ.
P से नहीं किए, तो
Yes,
P
ma'am.
1 + K1P कहाँ से आया? मैम आप KD से डिवाइड किए तब K बाई
हाँ
KD आया इंटू
हाँ मैं
P
समझ गई
डिवाइडेड बाय 1
समझ
+ K बाई KD इंटू P, वो P के नीचे वाला कौन सा है?
हाँ yes just a minute. KP into 1 minus theta is equal to KD theta. Is it okay? So if we
Yes,
take
ma'am.
theta common, so let me just simplify it. K1P minus K1P theta is equal to KD theta.
मैम KA थीटा होगा यहाँ पे इन द सेकेंड लाइन।
के यहाँ पे where?
मैम इन द सेकेंड लाइन थीटा आप लिखिए ना, थीटा डी
Is equal to.
प्लस KA, तो KA की जगह से मैम KA प्लस KA थीटा होगा मैम।
यहाँ पे
हाँ ये सेकेंड लाइन।
नहीं सही है।
no, it's okay.
Sorry.
Let me simplify it. It will be easier. Okay.
मैम वो थीटा इंटू KD प्लस K इंटू P होगा।
Yes. Somewhere I've missed that I'm getting now. Okay, so it will be K1 KAP minus KAP theta is equal to KD theta. Okay, so KAP is equal to KAP theta minus KD theta. Is it okay? Is it okay?
प्लस KD थीटा होगा।
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
if we'll take theta is equal to KAP.
मैम प्लस KD होगा, प्लस KD
मैम इन द सेकेंड स्टेप प्लस KD थीटा।
हाँ
प्लस
yes.
KD थीटा।
Yes. So it will be KA theta will be KAP like KAP divided by KAP plus KD. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then if we'll divide it by KD, so KA by KD P divided by KA by KD P plus theta. Oh, sorry, KD. Something. It's not working now. So it is KAP by KD, KAP by KD. So this part. Oh, it's taking the whole things. So it will be KAP by KD plus KD by KD. Okay, so now I think we got this one, K1P by 1 plus K1P. So if K by KD is equal to K1, K1P, KD1 plus K1P. Now we got. Is it okay?
Yes ma'am।
Okay.
Yes.
So the advantages of this theory is that we are getting, it is successfully explaining efficiency of a finely divided catalyst. It means if the surface area is high, then the number of reactant molecules getting adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst will be high. Then the number of products will be high. Isn't it? Am I right?
Yes ma'am।
Again, the catalyst remains unchanged during a reaction and is effective in a small quantity. That also we have explained, because at the end it is also released from the substrate. And catalytic poisoning means if some poisons or some retarders adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst, then the sum of the area of the surface area, if it is covered by the poison or the retarder or the substances which destroy the catalytic activity, then the small portion will be available for the reactant molecules. So by this way, the efficiency of the catalyst will definitely decrease and eventually will get less amount of product, isn't it? So all the points it is able to explain successfully. Okay, if you have any doubt, then let me know, then we'll discuss. Otherwise, we'll discuss enzyme catalysis, and this is the end of this chapter. So now enzyme catalysis. Enzyme catalysis. Just a minute. So you know enzymes are highly complex protein molecules produced by the living organisms or the cells which catalyze the physiological reactions. You know, in our body there are many type of enzymes which are present, and because of them we are alive. Okay, so they are very much important for the sustain for our for our life and for any living organism, not only for human being. It is for equally important for the animals, equally important for the plants. So for our survival, it is very much important. So the important characteristics of enzymes, they have immense catalytic power and they accelerate reactions by factor of least millions, means like they are able to accelerate the reaction 10 to the power 6 or 10 to the power 20 times if we'll compare without the enzymes. Okay, a reaction will be 10 to the power 20 times faster in the presence of the enzyme. When it is not present, it is very slower, means less than 10 to the power 20 times slower. Okay. Similarly, just like the catalyst, enzyme is not changed in a reaction and can be recycled to break down additional substrate molecules. Okay, the active site, they are also equally specific, just like the catalyst. They are equally specific because you know the lock and key model of the enzymes. Like you cannot open the lock with any kind of keys, because for a specific lock, a specific key is required. So some of the examples of common enzymes are trypsin, protease, lipase, lactase, sucrose. So these are the common enzymes which are present in our body. Okay, enzymes can be grouped into different categories on the basis of their action. If it is transferase, means they have to transfer the functional groups. If it is lysase, means it will break down the chemical bonds. If it is hydrolase, means it involves the hydrolysis. Okay, so then we'll discuss what are the factors which affect the enzyme action. pH, you know, enzymes are proteins, so they contain amino acids. Proteins are obviously they are the if beads are the amino acid, then the whole necklace is the protein. Similarly, the proteins or the enzymes are the proteins. They contain the amino acids, and amino acids means COH group, and NH2 group is present in the chain. So they are definitely affected by the pH. So in the optimum pH of the enzyme is for a particular enzyme, the pH is also defined, and a particular enzyme has optimum pH for its performance. Similarly, for temperature, because optimum temperature is also defined for a particular type of enzyme, and activators and inhibitors, because you know they have if some organic solvents or some inhibitors are added, then they are they inhibit the enzyme action. Okay. So these are few factors which affect the enzyme action. Okay. First of all, what is an enzyme? What are the characteristics of an enzyme? What are the examples? And what are the factors affects the enzyme action? Okay. So next to that, we'll discuss kinetics of enzyme action. So that is very important in this topic. Three things are important. One is terminologies for short type question, and both the theories, intermediate compound theories and adsorption theory, and then this one, kinetics of enzyme action. Okay, so here we'll discuss Michaelis Menten mechanism. Okay. Students, am I audible in the, because I'm not able to see you.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yes, ma'am. You are.
Okay, if in the meantime, if you are not able to hear me or any problem is happening, then let me know. Or and don't worry for anything. If I'll teach slowly and within this time period we'll complete everything. Don't worry for that. And if you are not able to write in the class, then don't worry. Where from I'm teaching, that one I'll send you the photos. Photos and the materials I'll send at the end. Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So the Michaelis Menten mechanism, but listen carefully because time is very less and we have to cover. I don't know if we'll get a chance that the exam will be like postponed for some, even for a week, then it will also help us. We do not know. Let us think that it will be on February. So accordingly, we will prepare. Okay, so the Michaelis Menten mechanism for the catalysis of biological chemical reaction is one of the most important chemical reaction. Okay, so this is the most important mechanism for enzyme catalysis. So these steps, the mathematical treatment or the steps you have to remember, you may get in your examination, you may write with me because I am writing in the same way you can also write. So K1 is the rate constant in the forward direction when the enzyme and the substrate, E stands for the enzyme, A stands for the substrate, EA stands for the enzyme substrate complex. E is the enzyme, S is the substrate. Substrate, you can say reactant, whatever. Then ES is the enzyme substrate complex. Okay, so in the next step, ES decompose to give the product. And the rate constant is K2. This is the rate controlling step. Students, please remember this is the rate controlling step. Okay. So if we apply steady state approximation, applying steady state approximation, then dES by dt is equal to 0. Can I write? So then K1 into E into concentration of S minus K minus 1 or K inverse into K1 ES minus K2 is equal to 0. So if we'll take ES common, is equal to K1E into S divided by K minus 1 plus K2. Okay. So if each term will divide by K1, then it will be E. If in the it will be E into S by K minus 1 plus K2. We are dividing by K1. So you will get E into S divided by Km. So here Km is the Michaelis constant. Michaelis. CHAELIS. MICHAELIS. Michaelis constant. Okay. Is it okay up to this? Again, E is equal to E0 minus ES. So E is the concentration of the free enzyme and E0 is the total concentration of the enzyme. So E0 is the concentration of total enzyme and E is the concentration of the free enzyme, because some of the enzymes are already reacted with the reactants, so the free enzyme is E. So now E0 minus E is equal to E divided concentration of S by K. So E0 is equal to E plus into 1 plus pi Km. Okay, so implies that E is equal to Km E0 divided by Km plus S. As you know that the second step is the rate determining step. So rate is equal to K2 into the concentration of the enzyme and the substrate. That is equal to K2 by Km into concentration of the enzyme, free enzyme into concentration of the substrate. Okay, so that is equal to K2 by Km into E0 S by plus S. So that is equal to K2 Km plus okay. So now case 1, if Km is lesser than S, then Km plus S can be written as S. We'll neglect the Km part. Okay, so rate is equal to K2 into E0. E0 is your total enzyme concentration. Okay. Here you can say rate is not directly proportional to the substrate, rather rate is directly proportional to the concentration of the enzyme. Means the just like your catalyst, similarly in case of enzyme catalysis also the rate is dependent on the concentration of the enzyme. Here, if the substrate concentration is less than Km, then rate is equal to K2 by Km into E0 into S. Here also equally the rate is proportional to the concentration of the enzyme as well as the substrate. So both the cases rate is dependent on the concentration of the enzyme. So here now we'll discuss evaluation of Michaelis constant. Michaelis constant, that is your Km. So let all the enzymes are used to make the enzyme substrate complex. So rate is equal to maximum when, in this case, because all the enzymes are used for making the enzyme substrate complex. Okay. So now if we substitute the value of S in this equation, then rate R is equal to R max into S divided by Km plus S. So 1 by R is equal to Km plus S divided by R max into concentration of S. So here we can write 1 by R is equal to Km R max into concentration of S plus 1 by. So if we plot a graph 1 by R in the y-axis and 1 by S in the x-axis, then you will get a graph like this, and from the slope you can calculate the value of the Michaelis constant, that is your Km by R max. So I is equal to here 1 by R max, then Km is equal to slope by intercept.
मैम थोड़ा ऊपर कर देना.
Is it okay?
मैम थोड़ा सा और. यस मैम.
मैं एक काम करती हूँ, मैं इसको ना शेयर कर देती हूँ आपको.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is written after slope implies? What is written?
Here, slope is
Yes.
equal to Km by R max.
Ma'am, after that line, second one implies.
I is equal to, I is your intercept 1 by R max.
Okay. Okay.
Here is the link I have sent in your group. Okay, so if all the steps are clear, then this chapter is completed and we'll start spectroscopy. And if you'll permit me, then I can introduce to the topic spectroscopy, what is spectroscopy and what are the topics we'll discuss for your examination. Completed?
Yes, ma'am.
For everyone? After spectroscopy, we'll start nanomaterial and at the end we'll start electrochemistry. Because everybody knows electrochemistry, there is nothing to discuss much. In nanomaterial, only 1 or 1.5 class is enough. For spectroscopy, you need some time.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, when is our chemistry theory quiz theory?
No idea. Only this Saturday is your lab quiz. Already I have informed in the group.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And makeup midsem examination is also that information I have shared in the group.
Ma'am, mid-sem the result will be out by?
How can I share? Because I have also not completed the copy checking.
Ma'am, everyone will appear for the makeup mid-sem examination.
Why? Why?
Then how will we know that who will appear for the makeup mid-sem?
Those who could not submitted able to upload the section B part, and those who have not appeared the midsem due to some reason, genuine reason. Okay. Okay. It is on 18. I think the repeat midsem is on 18. Is it that one? Like I have already said in the group, please check. It is on 18. So just give me some time. Like maybe by Monday, I'll tell you the chemistry marks. Okay, today is Thursday. This Saturday is a working day or not? Students? This Saturday is a working day or not? No.
मैम सिर्फ क्विज है ना.
But should be a
ठीक है,
holiday.
क्विज तो आप लोग दोगे, इसमें कुछ नहीं है, मैं कॉपी चेक कर लूंगी. तो बाय if possible by this Sunday also you will know your marks. So Monday definitely you will get your marks, chemistry marks. At any cost I'll complete the copy checking.
क्विज़ का वेटेज कितना रहता है?
हाँ?
क्विज़ का वेटेज कितना रहता है टोटल में?
10 marks.
मैम टोटल अगर 100 मार्क्स से काउंट होगा सीजीपीए तो फिर 10 मार्क्स.
10%.
ओके मैम.
ठीक है, ठीक है. अभी ये क्लास में टाइम वेस्ट मत करो, बहुत सारे कोर्सेस है कंप्लीट करना.
मैम वेडनेसडे टाइम टेबल है.
ये सैटरडे
को.
दिस सैटरडे वेडनेसडे टाइम टेबल.
शायद मैम.
नहीं,
सेकंड सैटरडे छुट्टी होगा.
ये तो ट्यूटर मेंटर डे होगा.
ट्यूटर
हाँ.
ट्यूटर मेंटर में जो सैटरडे का पीडीएफ आया है उसमें लिखा हुआ है. ट्रीटमेंट
ये जो होगा अकॉर्डिंगली वी विल डिस्कस. ओके, लेट्स डिस्कस नाउ स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी. देखते हैं जो होगा अकॉर्डिंगली वी विल टेक द डिसीजन. नो प्रॉब्लम. सो स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी. So in your laboratory class, I have already given some idea on spectroscopy. Spectroscopy is the interaction of light with matter to give you some information in the molecular level. Okay. So when just for example, you are telling me the methanol is a liquid. Methanol is a liquid. Okay. So methanol and water, if we put in 2 test tubes, then both will look like same because it does not have any color and it is also colorless. Okay, and both are watery, means both are in liquid form, and you cannot distinguish which one is methanol, which one is water, And if you put C2H5OH, also that also you cannot distinguish. Any of you can distinguish? Any of you can distinguish or not?
Can you distinguish?
Ma'am,
Nobody can. Okay, because these are liquids and colorless, and you cannot taste also because these are chemicals, and also smelling the chemicals is not good. So from the smell, from the taste, we may distinguish something, but here it is not possible. So there are some techniques by which we can know which one is methanol, which one is ethanol, and which one is water. Okay, so these techniques, the spectroscopic techniques, we'll discuss here. So the light will pass, means because the light will, when the light will pass, they will interact with the electrons, the nucleus, the spin will change, and then it will give some information in the molecular level. Then we'll get, from the information we can back calculate or reversely calculate to get what was the molecule. Okay, just for example, EDTA. EDTA is colorless. Already you have seen many times in the EDTA titration, in the complexometric titration, the color of EDTA solution is which color? It is colorless. But when it is binding with a metal, then it is giving some color. Just for example, if it is bound with copper metal, the color is blue or green. And when it is binding with iron, the color is which color? It is reddish or brown. Okay, so depending on the number of d electron present in the metal, the color is different. Okay, so the color arises due to many reasons like DD transition, charge transfer transition, metal to charge transfer, ligand to charge transfer, MLCT or LMCT bands. Okay, so these are the things which we can distinguish and which you can study by using the spectroscopic techniques. So in your syllabus, only 3 techniques we'll discuss. That is UV visible, IR, and NMR. Okay, so these are the 3 topics we'll discuss here. UV visible, from the name itself, it suggests that the light source we are using, because I am telling you interaction of light with matter. So a light source is used in all the techniques, and in UV visible spectroscopy we are using the source is UV visible region. Okay. In IR spectroscopy, it is in the IR region. Okay, in NMR spectroscopy, it is in the radio frequency region. Okay, so the sources of light is, in case of this one, it is UV visible, it is IR, and it is radio frequency. Okay, so first of all, we'll discuss UV visible spectroscopy, because already you have used UV visible spectrophotometer to verify the Beer-Lambert's law. Okay, have you used or not? Although you have not used physically, virtually you have used, isn't it?
Yes.
So UV region is 200 to 400 nanometer. So this is in the electromagnetic spectrum, 200 to 400 nanometer is your UV region. Okay, 400 to 800 nanometer is your visible region. Your visible region. So there is one term that is called vacuum UV. VACUUM UV. Vacuum UV region. Why it is called vacuum UV region? The region of the electromagnetic spectrums from 150 to below 150 nanometer. Okay, 150 or 200, you can say below 200 nanometer, oxygen, nitrogen are present, and also air are present. Okay, in air oxygen and nitrogen are predominantly present, which observed in the UV region. Okay, so below 200 nanometer, the air contains predominantly oxygen and nitrogen, which absorb in the UV region. So when you are characterizing your sample or checking your sample with you in the UV region, then they may interfere in your test. So for that, you have to evacuate this region before using for your experiment. You have to evacuate to remove oxygen and nitrogen to so that the window will be free from oxygen and nitrogen, and then only you can use for your experiment. That's why this region is called vacuum UV region. Do you understand why it is called vacuum UV region? So the region below 200 nanometer is called vacuum UV region because in the air oxygen and nitrogen are present, which observe in the UV region. Strongly they observe in the UV region, so they interfere in your experiment. So before using in your experiment, you have to evacuate that region, then only you can use. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So next is your Beer-Lambert's law. I think I cannot complete today. Only 2 minutes left. Beer-Lambert's law, that I'll discuss in the next class. Beer-Lambert's law.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So in just a minute, the statement you just remember: when a beam of monochromatic light is passed through a pure homogeneous solution of a light observing material, then the decrease in intensity of the light with the thickness of the solution is directly proportional to the intensity of the light and the concentration of the solution. Already this one we have already discussed in your lab class. Till elaborately I'll discuss in the next class. Okay. So I'll give attendance to everyone except the one. So Dhruv, are you present now? Dhruv, are you present?
What, ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
Dhruv. Okay. So it is, yes, it is institutional decision because already his email ID is blocked, and I'll talk to his parents. If possible, they will come and they will talk to the authorities. So you people just read carefully the catalysis chapter. Whatever we are completing, please go through that carefully. And if you are facing any problem or any difficulty, please let me know. Okay. So bye for now. Let's meet tomorrow. We have a class at 9 o'clock. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the quiz will take place in the Google form, right? Not
I think you have already appeared before.
हाँ, तो पहला वाला तो Google फॉर्म पे ही हुआ था.
हाँ, तो फिर सेम ही होगा. ठीक है.
Okay.
सेम ही होगा. चेंज होने से वो बोल देते हैं. नहीं चेंज हुआ मतलब same thing will happen in the next quiz. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay then. Join in next class.
मैम सैटरडे को बता दीजिए.